Horror for All gang. It's another beautiful day today. It's early May, so naturally I'm thinking October the 31st and Halloween. Now, the Halloween film series has had in its entirety both some of the all-time horror classics as its highs and some absolute stinkers as its lows. I think very few horror film series have so veered between the extremely good and extremely bad as the Halloween film series. But what I want to talk to you today about is the three Halloween films and why I think they sort of encapsulate the horror genre at the time. So the original Halloween came out in 1978, made by John Carpenter, who at the time could do no wrong. His run of films around that time is the stuff of legend, and it is legitimately one of the all-time classic horror films. I would absolutely quantify it as horror for all. The level of violence in the film is very low. Instead, it is a masterclass in tension and just the build-up. It's a phenomenally good film. I would say that absolutely everyone should watch it. It's a seminal piece of cinema. And obviously it introduced a lot of the tropes that horror films since have picked up on. You know, the masked killer, the final girl, the theme around the holiday. But also, when we look at horror at the time, or certainly sort of culture at the time, the idea of this faceless entity killing people, I mean in this case it's babysitters, with no purpose to it, no reason, no rhyme. It's just someone is doing something, and you never find out who Michael Myers is. You never find out why he's doing what he's doing. Things that get explored in later films. But part of the genius of the first film is that sense of mystery. The idea is that there is no reason for these killings, that they are just things that happen, and often happen to people who, you know, Laurie Strode, played by Jamie Lee Curtis, is a very sort of morally straight young girl. Some of her friends are, you know, drinking, partying, promiscuous and so on. But ultimately, the first film has very much a sense of people don't know why this is happening, it is just happening, which I think is absolutely great. Moving on to 2007, and Rob Zombie makes a remake of Halloween. Now, first things first, it is very much a Rob Zombie film. There is an argument at a dinner table, at breakfast table, that happens quite early on in the film with possibly the most Rob Zombie of Rob Zombie quotes, which is, "Bitch, I will crawl over there and I will skull fuck the shit out of you." So yeah, very, very Rob Zombie. Much like a lot of horror films that came out at the time, it's very nasty, pretty sadistic. It has this really sort of muddy color scheme to it, lots of sort of muddy khaki greens and browns and blues, and there's not a lot of color and not a lot of pop to it. It's pretty violent, whereby the first film Michael Myers is able to kill with, you know, a handful of stabs or a choke or something like that. This film really draws out the violence in many ways, and I don't think it's very good, but I will give it credit where it's deserved, in which it was trying to do something different. Now, I don't think it had the reason to do that different thing, but obviously the first film back in 78, it's you know, not knowing who Michael Myers was part of the terror, was part of the mystery of what was going on. Rob Zombie's remake explains the first half of the film is explaining how Michael Myers became Michael Myers, and I credit the film for trying to do something different. I just think that in doing so, it removes a lot of that mystery and therefore terror of Michael Myers. So in the first film, Michael Myers' first kill is his sister, shot in this really, really eerie first-person point of view shot. For reasons, don't know what they are. In the Rob Zombie film, Michael Myers' first to kill is his bully in school, and it didn't need to be explained. He as a character didn't need to be shown in that kind of way. I think it undermined a lot of what makes him an endearing horror icon. But yeah, Rob Zombie tried something different at least. I don't think it was something that paid off ultimately, but I respect the fact he wasn't just doing a shot-for-shot remake of the first Halloween, and instead, obviously, that's the second half of his film. The first half, at least, is trying something new. So, you know, at least the attempt I credit. And then, 2018, you had the requel craze, as the new Scream films have so accurately pastiched. You have the requel craze, and so you have 2018's Halloween, David Gordon Green's Halloween. Now this is, in my mind, a very good move, because firstly it is a direct sequel to the 1978 Halloween, and so all of the films that follow the original Halloween of that varying quality and that sort of deepening storyline of why various things happened is ignored. Which means that actually, if you want to watch the more recent Halloween, you only have to watch the first Halloween, which I think basically everyone should do anyway. So it's a lot easier to pick up and carry on with that story. And I think this remake of the Halloween is this requel of Halloween is very, very good. It's very it's very of its time. It is very well directed, some incredible shots in there. The writing is great, the side characters are written well, the main cast are great. It's got Jamie Lee Curtis in it again as Laurie Strode. Her character has evolved and matured, and it's very kind of emotionally resonant. It's indicative of the high quality that horror films are now sort of aiming for, you know, real emotions, real characters, real people caught up in these horrible circumstances, which is now what makes horror films horrifying. It's the, you know, it's the real people, or, you know, characters meant to be written as real people with real emotions caught up in these horrible things. And I think it's stunning. There's a couple of story beats that I think don't work, but there are many things about it that do. It is more violent, I think, as you know, a horror film these days is, but it is a sequel that I would say is a worthy successor to the original Halloween, and as a duo, those two films I think are great. But between all three of them, you know, the Carpenter, the Zombie, and the David Gordon Green one, I do think the three films encapsulate the state of horror of the time. You've got the, you know, the lower budget, independent, anonymous, unexplained terror of horror films around that sort of mid to late 70s mark. You've got the far more sadistic, nasty, muddy coloured remake spree of that sort of 2005 to 2010 mark. And then you've got the, you know, the far better directed, better script, better acted requel, bringing back the legacy characters that you have from 2018 to pretty much now. So yeah, I mean, obviously in between there, lots of other Halloween films. Its timeline's become a little convoluted, but if you were to watch any of the Halloween films, the first one is absolutely mandatory, and I would say the 2018 one is also very, very good. Maybe a little too graphic for some, but I think if you can stomach a little bit of gore, it's a great film to watch. The original Halloween sequels, some of them are fun, but actually going through it as a series can be pretty tough work. Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, I didn't like. It's a little bit too Rob Zombie, a little bit too off the rails in terms of its symbolism and characters and so on. And also, the David Gordon Green Halloween sequels, Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends, the quality dips unfortunately on those. I think I had some quite high expectations after the recall of 2018 that weren't quite met. So first Halloween and 2018's Halloween, I would say, are the two to watch. That is me for today. I'm going to stay in the garden, try and turn these pale arms a healthy shade of brown. But as always, have a good day, be good people, love you all, and yeah, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. That never sounds natural when I say it, so I'll try and get used to it. Bye, folks.